Gene Chizik won national championships, fired shortly thereafter. We get a message here. It says, "Hey, Dad, based on that statement, if Lemonis doesn't win this year, he should be gone." So let's talk about that.
If Mississippi State has back-to-back losing seasons in baseball, especially with a new athletic director, I think Lemonis would be in trouble. I honestly do.
Fired in trouble or get it together or else in trouble?
Well, I mean, you definitely would have to. You would see Foxhall and Gautreaux would be gone for sure. The assistants would be gone. Be like, you got to get something different going here. But I mean, I don't know. But that being said, Mississippi State baseball back-to-back losing seasons. It hasn't happened since Ron Polk took over the first time. I'll just put it that way. So, I mean, honestly, I could. I guess I don't take it back. I take it back. They did. They did 08, 09, 10. So the end of Polk and then the start of John Cohen's tenure, they were just so talent deprived that they couldn't win, and Cohen got that turned around. But I mean, I think that there would be some conversations had, and if they let him go, they could be considered justified because this is Mississippi State baseball. It's an elite program. You won the national title 2 years ago, and you follow that up with that. You don't build upon that. Instead, you go the complete opposite direction.
Yeah, you go first to worst, and then in this scenario, another losing record would be in the bottom quarter of the league?
Yeah, I think so.
And some people would think that's crazy, but you can't accept losing when you invest in baseball what Mississippi State invests in baseball. You can't. You can't do it. Now,
no, you can't. And you
I don't expect them to have a losing season either. But
I don't either. Yeah,
that's not the question.
Yeah, that's the good news in all this. Everybody's getting riled up, right? It's not likely to happen. I would be incredibly surprised if this team isn't in the postseason. But these are the conversations. I've said this before. Like Nick Saban has won however many national titles at Alabama, 6, 7, I don't know. But if he had back-to-back losing seasons, he would get fired. No questions asked. Nobody would be surprised. He would get fired. He went 5-7, 4-8. He's gone. No question. Heck, if he went 7-5, 6-6, he's gone. Because that's what elite programs do. They don't tolerate losing seasons.
No. And you'd get somebody that would say, well, but he just won a championship. He more recently finished last in the league.
Yeah.
That's the sobering part of last season. He more recently finished dead last in the SEC than won a championship.
Yeah.
Can't ignore that.
I mean, it's great. It's great that he won a national championship. Huge deal. He'll never be forgotten. But back-to-back losing seasons, and people are going to be, upset, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is Mississippi State where, you had, you had 4 coaches in 4 years, and you went to 4 straight Super Regionals and 2 College World Series under them. I mean, you can find the right guy.
Yeah. And especially in a league that gives you so much wiggle room. I mean, you don't have to win 20 conference games.
Right.
You simply don't have to. Hunter says if State is really bad again, then yeah, it could be talked about, but let's be honest, they're not going to be bad again.
I think so. I think that's the correct.
The West is a bear, though. I mean, that's just... Oof.
It definitely is. But
it always
Mississippi State is one of those bears. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be better this year.
Greg and Jackson asking a question that this is new to me, but you're obviously more locked in than I am. He said, have you heard the lack of use of the pitching lab?
No.
I doubt they're not using every bit of resource available.
I would be surprised by that.
Jason says Lemonis didn't just miracle into the championship, though. He's been in Omaha since he got there, except last year's ridiculousness won't be a losing season.
He had 2, I mean, obviously 2020 doesn't count. He had 2 seasons where he was in the College World Series, and then he had last year's terrible season. He's going to be given every opportunity to bounce back this year. I think he will bounce back, and I think the program's in fine shape going forward. They continue to recruit well. So this is all just fun speculation on a February Monday.
That's all. Fodder, if nothing else. Liam Benton says if that's the case, Bianco should have been long gone, even though they had won it last year. Well, he never finished last in the West either. That's the thing with Mike Bianco is they were never bad. Not good enough, but they were never bad.
I think it was like when they had that number one class, like Kessinger and Dillard, that first year when they were all freshmen. I think they missed the tournament that year. I could be wrong. Mike and Oxford would definitely let me know if I'm wrong, but they weren't great that year.
No.
But at the same time, think about what we're saying. One more loss in the regular season last year, and Mike Bianco would have been fired.
If they didn't make the tournament, it would have happened. It would have.
Well, if they had lost one more game in the regular season, he would have been fired.
That's not opinion. That is not opinion.
That's a fact. That is a fact of life. So, I mean, it was the margins when you're talking about at the top levels. National championship things, the margins are so thin. It's either success or failure. It's not pretty good. Mississippi State football can enjoy pretty good seasons from now until the sun decides to finally stop shining, and nobody will ever say anything. State can be anywhere 7, 8, 9 wins a year, and everybody's just happy as can be. Mississippi State baseball can't be mediocre. Mississippi State baseball can't be missing, NCAA tournaments. And Ole Miss baseball is the same way.
Yeah, they invest similarly.
Bianco won the national title. Bianco won the national title last year. Let him finish last in the SEC this year. And then follow that up with another one. And see what happens. Gone!
Yeah, the honeymoon would end very fast with consecutive years like that. And again, we don't think that's going to happen.
None of that's going to happen.
Who's going to pitch though? They've started scrimmaging. Do we have any idea? Because I've seen some concern because they've been hitting really well, which always the double-edged sword. Spring games are the same way. People cheer when their team scores a touchdown, and it's like, well, you just gave up a touchdown. Same thing here.
Yeah.
The bats are great in the preseason scrimmages, but does that mean the arms aren't?
Yeah, you never know. I think they're okay. I think State's got good bats. First and foremost, they've got a lot of pop in that lineup, or at least they should. I think Friday night, what is that? What are we now? 11 days away. Friday night start will be Cade Smith. I'll be surprised if the Saturday guy's not Landon Gartman, the transfer from Memphis. And then Sunday's up in the air. I really won't be overly surprised if at least for the first Sunday you see Jurangelo Sanjay out there.
Really?
Just to see what he can do. I won't be surprised. He's been good, and he's just such a unique – he's a good pitcher, too. It's the guy who's throwing 94, 95 from the right and 91, 92 from the left. And they need to figure out what he is going to be for this team. So why not put him out there on a Sunday against a VMI team that you should score 11, 12 runs against, let him get some innings and see what he's got. So I won't be totally surprised if it's him on Sunday. But that Sunday spot is definitely up for grabs.